Welcome everyone to the comic multiverse where the worlds of nerd meet. Episode 53. 52 was special, and what's special about 53? Nothing. It's back to business as usual, pretty much. Wouldn't you agree, Matt?
It's pretty much normal.
It's
Normal.
It's pretty much the worst podcast ever. No, I joke. I kid, of course. This might actually turn into a really awesome show because Star Wars Celebration was this week, wasn't it, Matt?
It was. It ended, I think, earlier today.
And Easter, too, if you believe that kind of thing. If you believe in the zombie rabbit who came back from the grave and died for your chocolate, then yes, that also happened.
Yeah.
I'm coming off Easter dinner, so I'm filled with ham and yams and green beans and other assorted foods. Pumpkin pie, of course.
So you got the itis.
I got the itis pretty bad. If I just fall asleep here on mic, you'll know absolutely why that was. So how you been doing, Matt? I'm sure outside just staying glued to all these Star Wars topics that we will most definitely cover.
Yeah, I've been pretty good. I've been just keeping an eye on all the Star Wars stuff since they've been able to live stream most of it. So I've been watching all the live streams and stuff, and there's been some really great stuff, especially from because they give all the actors their own sort of panels. So you get to listen to Mark Hamill's stories about filming Empire Strikes Back with Carrie Fisher and stuff like that.
Nice.
It was really
nice.
cool.
They had a whole big touching tribute to Carrie Fisher, didn't they, at this year's show?
Yeah, it was a really great tribute as well. It was a really great video they made for her.
That's nice. That's definitely good. I mean, she's literally going to be impossible to replace, isn't she?
Yeah. Yep.
As we move on forward, especially because it seemed like had she not died, she would have remained a big part of those movies, you get the feeling.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
It'll be interesting to see where they go for the future. And with that, I guess we can just hop on into the first story. The big centerpiece of Star Wars Celebration was, of course, we got our first teaser trailer look at The Last Jedi.
Yeah, the big trailer everyone was waiting for, or the teaser trailer everyone was waiting for, and oh boy was it cool.
The one that everyone was waiting to do reactions for, weren't they?
Yep.
Man, if I'm not a reactioner, but if I was, that stuff, that's like gold dust, man. That's like uncut cocaine. I got that uncut Star Wars trailer for you. Everyone's gonna be reacting to it.
And everyone did.
And everybody did, except for me and you, because we don't do that kind
Yep.
of thing. But, some interesting stuff going on in this one. And obviously, everyone, for Star Wars topics, I lay myself at the feet of Matt's superior Star Wars knowledge, so I will let him take the reins on most of this. What did you see and enjoy about the trailer, Matt? And I will nod and agree.
What didn't I enjoy about this trailer? This is a really great trailer, really well cut, and it didn't give away any of the plot or anything. We don't really know what the plot is. Got some really cool action scenes and stuff. We didn't see a lot of characters either.
No, most of them were, in shadow for the bulk of it. Mainly Luke, who we finally get to hear talk now, and the big takeaway from his scenes is he is done as fuck with the Jedi and this war stuff. He is too old for this crap.
he's fucking over it. He's sick of the 30 plus years he's had to fight in wars and shit. He's just fucking over it.
He is hashtag done, son, and wouldn't you be too? It's like, fuck it all, man.
That was actually really interesting because I think a lot of people expected him to say something like it's time for the Jedi to return or something. But what I like about it is that he's kind of right as well, because what I think he's going to be doing is he's going to be getting rid of what the Jedi are or were in the prequels and everything, because they were kind of shitty and really
they were weird Catholic priests with laser swords.
Yeah, they were weirdo religious people and everything, and I think he's probably going to be getting rid of that and making his new Jedi Order, which is something that's kind of a bit in the middle between the dark and the light.
I think Luke realizes what many fans realize and what definitely expanded universe writers realized, and that is, hey, this war between the Jedi and Sith will never be over when the Sith continually are reborn within the ranks of the Jedi over and over and over again.
Yeah, and he probably like with the old Jedi, they were like scared of their students learning about the dark side
Hmm.
and everything. So Luke's probably going against that and teaching his students about the dark side to know what to look for and what to avoid and stuff like that.
It's definitely two extremes where the Jedi are like, hey, stifle all your emotions, shove all feelings deep down inside because those lead to the dark side. And the dark side are like, no, feel everything at all times, be every emotion at once, even if they're terrible. You think someone could come along and be like, "Hey, you know what? Maybe we don't have to be about extremes like you were saying, Matt. Maybe there's a better way in between all of this."
Yeah, and I think that that's what they're going for, and it it looks like they are because of like how the trailer's sort of talking about light and dark and everything, and what Rey feels.
We actually get to see her using some force powers. That's pretty cool. Her trying to move the rocks and everything.
Yeah, that looked really cool, and her training on the rocks with the lightsaber and everything.
Really cool. How much money do you bet at some point Mark Hamill's going to say, "Do or do not, there is no try. My master told me that once."
Yeah, maybe.
He said it backwards like a weirdo. That's kind of what he was. At least I'm not making you, at least I'm not climbing on your back and making you drag me around this tiny little island, but still, that could be fun.
I could do that, but I'm not going to.
I like they did that in a commercial, or like in a little Instagram picture there, the actress who plays
Yeah.
Ray and Mark Hamill, where it's like, look, we did the thing, we know the jokes you're all making, and we agree that's pretty hilarious. Look, man, it's how I was taught. I swear. Didn't you leave halfway through your training? The history books are hazy on that.
There's some books that fill that in.
And Ray's like, I didn't read the expanded universe. Well, that's lesson one. Start reading these expanded universe books. But most of them aren't canon anymore. Well, read the new comics then.
Speaking of books, we get to see some in the trailer as well, and I think it's I had like a couple of theories on this. Like I think there might be works that maybe Luke has picked up over his journey. Maybe we'll see them in the comics, him getting these books and everything, because
Right.
at least one is the Journal of Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh, that would be some shit. That would be a nice connector to everything that's been going on in the comics.
Yeah, and my other theory is like, what if they aren't? What if they're like his books and they're like he's been like chronicling the Jedi and everything, and they're like his own teachings that
I
he's
like
he's
that.
taken.
The Gospels
Yeah,
according to Luke, the awesome version.
yeah, because he is the last of the Jedi.
Yeah, true. But maybe he won't be by the end. Who knows? It's the last Jedi. It could mean anything.
Yeah,
But yeah, so that was cool. I agree with you, Matt, with what you were saying. They didn't show too much. They showed just enough and gave you a good feeling about what the movie's going to be like.
yeah, it looks really cool.
It's a good teaser. I was thoroughly teased. Were you thoroughly teased, people listening to the show? Tell us in the comments section how teased this made you. And that wasn't the only trailer we had. This Star Wars Celebration was chock full of trailers. We got what I know you were going nuts about on Twitter, and I was going nuts about too. We got the trailer for Season 4 of Star Wars Rebels, and it was announced that this will be the final season.
Yes, the final season. I didn't expect this to happen, but the good thing is though, Dave Filoni will get a chance to actually finish this show, unlike what he did with the Clone Wars, where it was kind of cancelled and kind of taken away from him a little bit.
Yep. They definitely are ending this on their own terms. In the trailer they gave us, it was dour, it was sad, and it was Hera's voice basically saying, we started out so simply with our little space Aladdin on our one planet, then we were fighting a whole war, and this is how it ended.
Yeah, so I have to guess that at least everyone except for Hera and Chopper and maybe Rex probably won't die.
Yeah.
Like everyone else will die.
They are doomed by canon. They have to die. The only question is, when do they die? Do they die in this big battle for Lothal that they're building up to? Do they die in the Battle of Scarif? Because we know in Rogue One we heard a reference to a Commander Syndulla, but we don't know if that was Hera or her dad.
I think they confirmed it was Hera.
Okay, well, there you go. So Hera at least makes it to Rogue One in the Battle of Scarif, but we don't know who else makes it. And speaking of Rogue One, we see Saw Gerrera again, and he looks like he does in the movie now.
Yeah, and he's flying one of those U-wing ships and everything, and he's got his friend Two Tubes as well from Rogue One.
Do you think Jin will show up there as well? Because that the timeline would fit. I know I've mentioned this before.
I definitely think mainly because I know Felicity Jones is voicing Jin in those animated shorts.
Ah, so they clearly got her in the studio for something.
Yeah, yeah. So it's possible. It's possible.
Makes a lot of sense. We saw a lot of cool shit with the Mandalorians. I'm guessing that's going to be the beginning of this next season. The Rebels having to repay their debt to the Mandalorians by helping them win their civil war.
Yeah, Bo-Katan comes back.
Yes, yeah. Who are they? Explain them to me.
Bo-Katan's a woman. She was in the Clone Wars, and she's kind of hard to explain, but she's voiced by Katie Stackhoff,
Oh,
so that's
nice.
awesome.
They seem to be implying that she might very well be a foil for Sabine now, who is continuing to try and find her place in Mandalorian society. I like that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Bo was like I think she was like a lieutenant or a commander or something for Pre Vizsla, the
Right.
guy the guy who led Death Watch. So yeah, she's kind of like a villain, but she could turn good, maybe. I don't know.
I guess we'll see about that. Well, we know that what is it? Sabine's family is descended from the original Death Watch, so we'll see about that. If they're friend or foe
Yeah,
or what's happening there seemed to be a moment near the end of the trailer, and this is just me totally implying things, where they seem to kind of raise her hand high, which makes me believe that I'm like, are they implying that she'll be the new leader of Mandalore, so Sabine can probably leave and help out with the battle of Lothal when they get there?
yeah, it definitely possible. Yeah.
That's a cool one. Wasn't there some rumors kicking around that because the time period, because we're getting in closer and closer to A New Hope, that Boba Fett might actually show up?
Maybe I know. At one of the other animation panels, Dave Filoni debuted like some Boba Fett stuff with Clone Wars, so they could definitely bring him back, and he might be coming back because I know the actress that voices Sabine was talking about characters like fan favorite characters that will be coming into the show, so maybe.
Do you think they'll finally maybe square the circle or do something with the idea that they mentioned in Clone Wars in Filoni's own show, where it's like, oh, Boba Fett wasn't a Mandalorian, he just stole the armor. And I'm like, well, fuck, where's that story then? You're saying the most famous Mandalorian isn't a Mandalorian anymore? What the hell?
Yeah, I think that'd be really interesting to dive a little bit more into it because I know when he was in Clone Wars, he never really did any of that since he was mainly just trying to kill Mace Windu and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Um, I'd like them to do that, especially with how much Mandalorian stuff they've been doing in Rebels.
Yeah. Or sorry, I mean, it was Django who stole the armor, not Boba. I forget they're different people, even though they're basically the same because clones and other bullshit.
Yeah, they're technically the same, but then they're not. It's really weird.
It is weird and such a George Lucas idea. That's another thing Disney could come in and do and be like, oh, Lucas changed it to make it so he was never a Mandalorian. Well, fuck it, change it back. I don't care how you do it, change it back. Be like, oh yeah, that guy who said that, yeah, he was really stupid actually, and it was part of a big conspiracy to distance themselves from Boba Fett. Yeah, let's go with that. Just to fix it and everything. Also, too, what is it? We actually get to see a famous bodyguard return from the Zahn books, don't we?
Yeah, Rook returns and he's being voiced by Warwick Davis.
So awesome.
Um,
No stranger to Star Wars.
Yeah, so that's pretty awesome, especially since it obviously confirms Thrawn's back as well as seeing him in the trailer. But what's really interesting is Rook is the guy who, in the old canon, actually kills Thrawn.
Oh, I wonder, do you think they're going to go that way, or do you think they're going to change it around?
Uh, I have no idea. We didn't really see a lot of him in the trailer. We didn't see a lot of Rook in the trailer. We did see him a little bit there fighting Ezra. So I guess he's maybe working with Thrawn, but I honestly don't know.
I like the idea of Thawne having this big, muscly, bruiser, leg breaker guy. He'd be a perfect foil for, like, Zeb to fight.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. The thing I am a little bit disappointed in is though, when he appeared in the old expanded universe, it was obviously after Return of the Jedi, and he kind of killed Thrawn because he sort of changed allegiances over to Princess Leia because she was the daughter of Vader, and Vader sort of helped out not his race and everything. So he sort of owed her a debt, sort of thing, and that's kind of how he killed Thrawn. But obviously that's gonna change now that he's in kind of before A New Hope. So maybe Leia might come back. I don't
That's
know.
right. Leia had a really great episode. People forget that early on. So they do know her. And if part of the Rebel Alliance is bringing everyone together under one umbrella, yeah, I would totally imagine we would probably see Bail and Leia again.
Yeah.
A lot of cool stuff. A lot of cool stuff to look forward to. Ooh, also, too, they answer our question of what's going to happen with Callus. He grew his hair out and got a cool new Rebel outfit.
Yeah, he's now just a rebel agent. Which is going to
Love
be
it.
really cool to see more of him.
Yeah, I think Callus ended up being one of my favorite characters from Rebels because he had such this arc of being a bad guy, realizing the Empire didn't care about him, and then slowly but surely becoming a good guy now. I know I pitched an interesting idea there. Wouldn't it be funny if the rest of the Rebel Alliance didn't like him because he was an Imperial defector?
Yeah, yeah, I think they probably won't. I know they probably won't trust him because they'll think like, oh, well, this guy was like kind of like a high-ranking special agent in the Imperial Navy, so he could be just trying to trick us and be like a double agent sort of thing.
That would be a good story for Saw Gerrera, especially because they're trying to build him up as this more radical, more brutal rebel. Wouldn't it be interesting if he sees that? You know, if he sees Callus and he's like, "Oh, well, let's draw and quarter him in the street."
Yeah.
It technically counts as patriotism now. That's a Rick and Morty reference, everybody. It's a fun show. So yeah, that's Star Wars Rebels Season 4. Looks amazing. I'm so sad to see it end, but I'm so excited to see what they do with it too.
Yeah, it's going to be really fun. It's going to be, they confirmed it's going to be 15 episodes long.
Nice. And apparently it's going to be even more serialized than the last season was.
Yeah.
I think I can say without hyperbole, Rebels turned out to be one of the best Star Wars things I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's been great.
It's so good it hurts. And, you know, here's my thing moving forward. Do you think they'll give Filoni another show? Do you think he'll make this part of, like, a trilogy and we'll maybe get another Star Wars animated series set in, like, the Force Awakens continuity, like, during that time period?
I know he mentioned at the live stream there is more animation coming, so we could get a new show. I don't know when they'd set it. I'd like to see something set between there, or maybe like between episodes 4 and 5 or something, or 5 and 6.
Here's my pitch for a show. Tell me if you like it. Let us see the adventures of Luke after the final battle in Return of the Jedi. Let's see him actually try and build up his Jedi school and everything they do at the end of the war, and then you end that series with little Kylo Ren turning to the dark side.
That'd be pretty cool.
Because again, there's a lot of years unaccounted for there, and if you could do a show with Luke and Han and just kind of everyone in between, and you even have the bit where Leia's like, "Oh, I'm pregnant" and everything. Wouldn't that be something?
That'd be pretty cool.
That would be my pitch for it. That might be too much. That might be too good to be true, but that would definitely be my pitch for it. Because you think, too, you got to figure around that time, too, there'd be a lot of, like, Imperial holdouts and everything. Because just because you destroyed the second Death Star, just because you defeated Vader and the Emperor, doesn't mean they'd stop.
No, they haven't, no.
They have chokeholds on entire systems. They have charismatic leaders. They wouldn't just stop.
Yeah, I'd like to see a series based around Poe Dameron's mother and father, since they were involved in the Rebel Alliance. Like, his mother was an A-wing pilot, while his father was a strike team member at Endor. So I think they could do a really good series about them. I know they're in the Shattered Empire comic.
Nice.
But I'd like to see like a little bit more about like what they did for the rebellion, since they were obviously there before the Battle of Endor. So I'd like to see a little bit more of that.
Or if you really want to jerk off my nerd dick a little bit, go 10,000 years into the future and do Star Wars Legacy with Darth Krayt and all those other characters. That ain't fucking happening.
I don't think like Darth Krayt, like the guy is that Tusken Raider Jedi from like the Clone Wars. I don't think he's canon anymore. I don't know.
Did they write? Yeah, they probably wrote him out when they wrote everything out. Yeah, the timeline doesn't work anymore for him to be a Tusken Raider, then a Sith Lord, then everything else.
Yeah, or you could like just change it around a little bit and still make him Darth Krayt.
I love Darth Krayt. He's probably one of my favorite extended universe Darths. That he's so powerful, but he's sick and dying and needs the Force to cure him.
Yeah, he's pretty cool.
And the Skywalker from that show is great, too. A Skywalker who became a smuggler because he so wanted no part of the Skywalker legacy of being heroes and saving the universe. He's like, nah, that's stupid. That's bullshit. I just want to steal and take death sticks.
Yeah, well, I'm a drug-addled half Jedi.
Yeah, and he keeps seeing, like, the ghost of Luke and the ghost of Anakin, where it's like, hey, kid, get off your ass and be a hero. And he's like, no, don't wanna. Just getting haunted. It's like, well, we'll continue to force ghost haunt you until you do, kid. Fine, then. I will. I'll be a goddamn hero and save the universe. Jesus, ghost dad and ghost grandpa and ghost great-grandpa. Always up in my shit. Another thing that came out of Star Wars Celebration, we got the lowdown on a brand new comic miniseries coming from Marvel, and it's a Captain Phasma comic.
Yeah, and it's been written by Kelly Thompson.
Awesome. Good writer.
Yeah.
We'll finally get the answers to who Brienne of Tarth is playing in the Star Wars universe and what her deal is.
I guess so. I know the comic's going to be taking place over the course of The Force Awakens, and we're going to find out how she gets out of the trash compactor and escapes from Starkiller Base.
There you go. Some very important information there. It's, hey, you got a cool designed character and a blank slate, so go for it.
Yeah, I think she's also getting a novel written about her as well.
Interesting. Good for her.
I think, yeah.
Huh. So yeah, that was a lot of the big stuff that came out of Star Wars Celebration. They mentioned a new Battlefront too, but is anyone excited for Battlefront and EA and all their DC bullshittery?
I want to get excited mainly because I know the story has been confirmed to be canon, and it's set between episodes 6 and 7.
And you play as the Empire in this, don't you?
Yeah, you play as a Special Forces Empire soldier.
Which is kind of everything I wanted. I like that's their big selling point for this, where it's like, why should you buy Star Wars Battlefront 2? Because we put a story in it this time. There's actually a game in our game.
Yeah, and I know they have said that there isn't going to be any season pass for Battlefront 2, but the problem with that is it's like they said there's no season pass, but they haven't said there's no DLC. So there'll still be shitloads of DLC. You just won't be able to buy it in a season pass.
I know our buddy Mitch was talking about this on Twitter, the absolutely whorish approach to DLC they're taking on this one, where it's like, give us $100 and you'll get the game a couple days early. You'll also be better at the game because we'll give you weapons no one else can get, and we'll give you like free levels and shit.
Yeah, they did that with the first one. They gave you like access for like the first 7 days or something before anyone else could play, and then like a bunch of those stupid like card things that they have for the game. But I think they've gotten rid of that for this one. I think it's back to classes, which is good. Which is good. Yeah.
Friggin' EA, man, you have the beloved Star Wars license and you continue to do this shit to it. Way to go.
Yeah.
Way to fucking go. Surprisingly, one thing they didn't mention, and I know we say this every Star Wars Celebration, I'm sure you, me, and everyone else sits with our fingers crossed, and we're like, okay, Knights of the Old Republic 3, Knights of the Old Republic 3, KOTOR 3, come on, you can do it, come on, no whammies, aw.
They can't make a KOTOR 3 because KOTOR is no longer canon, so it'd have to be like a new game.
Well, something like that. I say KOTOR 3 as a catch-all, but a new BioWare Star Wars RPG.
I know apparently like one of the BioWare branches is working on a Star Wars game, but after Mass Effect Andromeda.
Yeah. That was my hope too. It's like, okay, so Andromeda was kind of buggy and kind of unfinished. Please tell me that's because you moved half the team to work on the new Star Wars project. Come on. It'll make it all worth it. It's like, look, Mass Effect might not have been great this time, but it's okay because they were all working on Star Wars. But no. Wasn't it like 2 or 3 E3s ago? They sat down with the people working on the new Star Wars game and they basically just showed a bunch of concept art. They're like, yep, we're working on a great epic new Star Wars game. We can't tell you anything about it, but we're working on it.
Yeah, they showed like that, and there was like a small clip and everything, and we haven't seen anything about it since. I imagine we will see something at maybe this upcoming E3. E3 happens in like June or something, yeah. So yeah, we could see something. Hopefully we do.
We can only hope, because that was a tease. That was a teasy tease. That was a blue balls in tease is what that was. Why you do this to me, EA? So, continuing on with our list of topics, we actually had a really good list of topics this week. We're still staying in space, but we're going over to the DC side of space. Apparently, Tom King implied on his Twitter on Friday that he might very well be penning a brand new God series.
And I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I actually think he would be a good fit for that. Much like Vision, I think his outside-the-box kind of literary approach would be very fitting for the topic. Well, of course, what I'm talking about is that if you had seen his Twitter, he posted a picture of 2 hands grasping each other, which were very clearly Mr. Miracle and Big Barda. And this comes on the heel of Jeff Johns at one of the last big DC meetings saying that they do have stuff planned for the new gods moving forward.
I'm be all for that. I like the new gods stuff. I like the stuff they did with them recently with that Green Lantern event and everything, and I think they've been kind of underutilized as a whole.
They have been. It's like everybody loves the new gods when they show up in like video games and animation and everything, but I don't know how many people have actually read like the old Jack Kirby comics.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people know exactly who these people are.
Mm-hmm. You would especially think, with Game of Thrones being so huge it is. Imagine if someone said, hey, it's Game of Thrones, but it's in space and they're all superheroes.
Exactly. Like, that should sell 1 billion copies.
It should. And I mean, there's a lot of cool characters in there. Orion, Big Barda, Mr. Miracle, Forager, who's apparently getting like one of those young animal books, apparently.
Oh, really?
Yes. I like Forager is just so weird and so out there. It's like, you know what? We need a Forager book about a weird bug man who forages, I guess, given the name. Then you got your High Fathers and all those other guys. It's a whole pantheon, basically, of characters with their own deep entrenched lore and everything. And if they did a new Gods book, too, they would eventually need to explain, hey, what the hell happened with Darkseid and Apocalypse?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's just kind of been left hanging since DC Rebirth. What the hell happened there?
Yeah, that'd be interesting. And then they've got to involve people like Lex Luthor, who actually owns like mother boxes and like all their technology and everything. And remember, he by that I can't remember what his name was, but that guy, he was sort of implying that maybe Lex was going to become the new Darkseid.
Oh, Lakal the Godslayer,
yeah. Yeah, Lakal, yeah, that's it.
That would be an interesting pitch, actually, for a book. Be like, hey, Luthor, you're kind of being an absentee leader to Apocalypse right now, and it's going to boil over into civil war. What are you going to do? In case you forgot, you kind of own a planet right now. Also, too, it would be kind of fun to maybe have Mr. Miracle and have Big Barda be like, whoa, you guys have mother boxes? You guys cannot have those. You have to give those all back right now.
Yeah, I can imagine them coming after it. That'd be pretty cool.
And you couldn't stop Big Barda and Mr. Miracle because they're very tough.
Yes, they are.
I would also like to, it would make people have to, like, pay reference to Darkseid War and everything and say, hey, didn't you guys help us defeat Darkseid that one time when there was a weird Darkseid baby? Everything got really weird after that. Remember that, everybody? Remember the lead up to that? Remember Darkseid War that went on forever? Wasn't bad, just went on for a goddamn eternity. But keeping in the realm of DC Comics, here's a piece of news that genuinely surprised me. I did not see this coming whatsoever. Apparently in the next couple runs of Deathstroke stories, like from Deathstroke, like 2021 onward, he's going to be forming his own Teen Titans team.
That's pretty cool.
They have a brand new color scheme too. They're white and black, which automatically made me think, oh, hey, Slade, the Future Foundation called. They want their color scheme back. The idea behind this team moving forward is, I guess, after the events of Lazarus Contract, which are coming very soon, I think either next week or the week after going inside the Speed Force, Slade has like a major change of heart, and he decides he wants to be a good guy now.
Yeah, that's going to be pretty interesting. I've started to read the Lazarus contract since it started this week in Titans, at the end of Titans.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff going on there, definitely. The team actually has a very interesting makeup. It's Deathstroke as the leader, and I love this guy. He's such a glorious bastard. What's his go-to when he's trying to be a good guy? Now, oh, I'm gonna wear a cape on top of my regular costume. I'm gonna wear a cape. Joining him is his son Jericho. I'm like, oh, so his son Jericho survives the events of Lazarus Contract and the events of the current Deathstroke book, which is impressive because Jericho has basically been the bad guy for this last run of of Deathstroke. His daughter Rose, who I've always quite liked, Rose the Ravager. I thought she had an interesting history. She has a cool power set. I would definitely put her in more stuff. Again, I'm surprised she's not dead and she doesn't want to kill her father, because in the story that came out last week, she's been like trying to reconnect with her Asian root. She's trying to reconnect with her Hamong family. And, she lived with them for like a week and she had like a really touching, time with them, only to come back and have someone tell them, yeah, that wasn't your real family. Your dad just hired actors.
Oh, no.
Your dad hired actors so he wouldn't feel bad. Also, Jericho's getting married and Slade is having sex with the woman that he's about to marry. So yeah, he's a fucker. Tanya Spears, aka Power Girl 2, who I'm guessing a lot of people forgot about. She's actually helping Slade currently in the comics. She saved his life, and he's reciprocated by lying to her and saying, no, I'm not Deathstroke. I'm the superhero Twilight. Yeah, you've just never heard of me. And she's like, okay, your story checks out. I'm not going to look this up or anything. Your story checks out. And then the two weirdest members of this team, what is it? Wally West 2, Kid Flash, who it's like, wait, aren't you already on Damien's Teen Titans? So wait, are you pulling double duty for two teams, or do you actually leave that book, give Aqualad your slot, and go join this team?
I think that's probably what's going to happen.
Yeah, and it's funny, when I thought of that, all I heard was Dwayne McDuffie's voice in my head when he was writing Justice League. He's like, yeah, I tried to put two black characters on the Justice League, only to have a bunch of editors come to me and say, well, if you have more than two black guys on one team, it becomes a black team, right? And a black book. And Dwayne McDuffie just pulled his hair out and said, fuck you guys. Is that the thing? And so, yeah, he's on the team. That's an interesting pull. I guess maybe they'll grow closer over the Speed Force and Lazarus Contract. We'll have to read that to find out. But the last member of the team, it's clearly Terra.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It definitely looks like Terra.
Which, how are they going to explain a lot of that, especially if everything from the old universe is still canon in DC Rebirth, including their weird relationship that they had?
It's another actor Slade hired.
Yeah, really. No, that's not really her. It's just an actor I hired. I'm not some weird sleazebag, but I totally am a weird sleazebag. That's the joke I made in my review, too, when he was hanging out with Power Girl. I'm like, hey, Deathstroke, she's 16. Maybe shouldn't do that, given your history as a character. I'm just saying, maybe someone should call an adult, is all I'm saying. But yeah, so this is an interesting direction, both to give Deathstroke a team and to also try and make him a good guy. Yeah, I like what Christopher Priest is doing. Sign me up for this.
Yeah, it sounds pretty cool.
Sounds really fun. It also makes me even more excited for Lazarus Contract, not that I needed to be more excited, because that book is awesome.
Yeah.
Teen Titans is in a new golden age right now, and all it took was giving it over to some really good writers.
Who knew?
Who knew? Good writers write good stories. I know, right? Someone should put that on a shirt somewhere, is what they should do. So I guess moving on from that story, we have some more casting news. We get to go to the realm of movies. I, of course, if you've listened to me for any amount of time, you know I'm excited for that new animated Miles Morales Spider-Man movie coming down the line. Well, we finally have some casting news on that. The actor who will be playing Miles is the Get Down's Shameik, I think is how it's pronounced. I haven't watched The Get Down yet. I've heard great things, though, and apparently he's a great young actor. He's going to be playing Miles, and Liev Shreiber is apparently attached to play the villain.
Cool.
That sounds really, really good.
Cool. I wonder who Ray Donovan's going to be playing.
Yeah, who is Ray Donovan going to be playing? I mean, the obvious thing would be Norman Osborn, but then I'm reminded, now, well, Norman's more of a Peter villain. Who's the villain going to be for Miles in this movie? Assuming that, you know, if it's going to be in a main continuity, if they're going to start making their own continuity, because if it's their own continuity, I could totally see Shriver as Ultimate Osborn.
Yeah, I could see that.
As just a big, creepy goblin man. Outside that, I'm like, does Miles have many villains of his own? Or was the Ultimate Scorpion, who was just like a cholo with a big chain that had a spike on it?
Yeah, and I don't think he's going to be playing that.
No, although if he did, he's an even more amazing actor than I thought he was. That he can really go and inhabit that headspace. And maybe he'll just play a gangster of some kind, who knows?
Yeah, I don't know.
Either way, that's shaping up to be a really awesome movie. It's nice to know they got two really great actors in that one.
Yeah.
So, moving on from there, we've got some more comic news here. Apparently, Greg Rucka in June is officially done with Wonder Woman. He only signed up for a year worth of stories. And that's it for him. He's leaving the book, and Shea Fontana of the DC Superhero Girl animated series is going to be taking over the book.
Yeah, that seems pretty cool. I know the new artist coming on is the guy that does the Bombshells book.
Oh, nice. That's really good art.
Yeah, so it's going to look really nice.
I mean, I respect Rucka for doing what he did for as long as he did. And again, he's like, this is the story I want to tell. I'm going to basically redo the origins of Wonder Woman, and then another writer can take it from here.
Yeah. Well, that seems to be, since it's going to be finishing June, I'm guessing that's when this Truth storyline's going to be finishing, which, like, honestly, I think it needs to have already been finished, since it's kind of dragging on now.
Yeah, that's the feeling I've been getting. That's what people seem to have been telling me.
Yeah, it's kind of starting to you just got to get there. But he keeps like going on with other stuff and everything.
Yeah, very, very strange. But yeah, I mean, nothing but support for the new writer coming in there. I hope she does a good job, especially because it seems like so many of the DC Rebirth books have been firing on all cylinders and with consistent creative teams across the board.
Yeah, it's been knocking it out of the park with literally every book, and they've all been working really well with one another. So hopefully this next story, what I hope this next story is just like a simple Wonder Woman story, like Wonder Woman being a superhero.
That would be
and
nice.
Just kind of leaving the whole Greek mythology stuff to the side and just being like a superhero Wonder Woman.
Yeah, just for a bit, because it's been so long since we've had like a straight up Wonder Woman, and Rucka's been bringing that back a little bit, but with this whole like, you know, Greek god conspiracy thing on top of it.
Yeah.
But I definitely like that they brought back a bunch of her old villains, you know, like Dr. Cyber and like Cersei and like everyone else. I hope they keep up that trend moving forward.
Yeah. Well, Dr. Cyber's the villain at the moment, and she's been really, really cool.
What a great pull. What a great pull indeed. So, moving on to more movie news right here. This one happened earlier in the week, if you couldn't tell. I've been working backwards, essentially, from topics, but Deadpool 2 finally found its cable, and it's an actor I don't think anyone would have called because he's already involved in another superhero franchise. It's Josh Brolin.
Yeah, so he's going to be pulling double duty as Thanos and Cable.
Man, he's going to be getting them Marvel checks all over the place, isn't he? I wonder he walks into the club and be like, don't worry, I got that Marvel money. I'm pulling it down from both ends.
Yeah, I hope he does like that kind of like Texan accent for Cable.
Me too, just for no reason. Or, you know, it's me, it's Llewellyn, I mean Cable. Yep, that's me. I got a big bag of money, Wade. What are we gonna do? I really hope he does. I wonder, because Deadpool is totally the sort of movie that would do it. I wonder if they're going to make fun of the fact that he's pulling double duty with two roles.
Oh, most definitely.
I wonder how they're going to do that. Where it's like, oh, don't you hate that when actors are in two things in two franchises? No, I don't know anything about that, Deadpool. Now let's go on a time adventure. I should really work on my Brolin to get it good because we're going to be talking about him a lot in the next little bit.
Yeah, my dad's Cyclops. He's a shitty dad.
Yeah, he really wasn't in my life at all. He really sucks. Fucking James Masters, or James Marsden, or whatever his name is. Poor Cyclops never had a chance. I hope they make fun of that too, where it's like, oh, my dad, he never had a chance. In anything, he never let me forget it. Friggin' the Phoenix blew him up, I guess, if X3 is still canon. I mean, I guess X3 can't be canon if he's alive, eh?
Yeah, I guess so.
If he exists, period. Although then I guess, like, Days of Future Past put everything back to normal, but Logan doesn't reference Days of Future Past. Whatever. I've given up trying to make sense.
Don't try to make sense of it. You'll go insane.
You'll only hurt yourself trying to make sense of the X-Men timeline. Just laugh at the funny ninja in the red pajamas is all you need to do. Just do that and carry on. I mean, I like Brolin as an actor, and if I didn't think they already had him locked down for Thanos, and if I didn't think they made their actor sign some sort of non-compete clause or something, I probably would have thrown him in the running for Cable. So good on them for picking an actor I like who I think fits the role.
Yeah, he's a pretty good actor, and like looking at him, that you can see Cable in there.
Oh yeah,
give him like the glowing eye and the silver hair and everything.
Salt and pepper him up a little bit. Yeah, I can see it. He can definitely do Gruff. I believe him as Gruff. That's for sure. It's as gruff as a sandpaper handshake, Joel said, trying to make up a euphemism that doesn't exist. Just trying to make shit happen now. So yeah, there you go, everyone. That was the news for this week. Quite a lot of topics, when you agree, Matt. It was a nice mixed bag.
It was.
And you know what else was a nice mixed bag, as I attempt very awkwardly to segue? The comics we read this week. In fact, there was a lot of them, wasn't there?
There was a lot of them.
So where would we even like to start, Matt?
Start with Marvel with X-Men Blue, issue 1.
It's funny, I read a lot of X-Men books this week and stories with the X-Men in them, but I didn't read Blue. Blue was the one I didn't read. Tell me about it.
Really? Blue was much better than Gold, whereas Gold was just a previews book of what's to come. X-Men Blue was an actual story.
You don't say. I miss stories.
Yeah, so it featured this blue team, which consists mainly of the time-displaced X-Men.
Who are still around.
Yeah, with Jean Grey as the leader.
Nice.
And they
is she
fight...
going by Marvel Girl now, or is she still just Jean?
She does have a code name. I am blanking on the code name at the moment. It's not Marvel Girl.
Oh, interesting.
But yeah, she leads the team against Black Tom Cassidy.
And the Juggernaut, right?
Yeah, and the Juggernaut, who seems to really, really hate Cyclops and Iceman, since he goes after them. And it was a pretty cool book, and the team does come to blows when young Hank McCoy uses magic to get rid of Juggernaut.
That's an interesting holdover from the old all-new X-Men, where Hank actually learned a little magic with Doctor Strange.
Yes, and Scott kind of has a go at him, like, did you just kill him? Did you just send a man to hell? And he's like, of course not. I sent him to Siberia via hell.
That's fitting to have Black Tom Cassidy and Juggernaut together again. That kind of seems to be a thing across all these X-Men books, where it's like, hey, isn't this familiar? Don't you remember back when the books were good? These were the characters who used to hang out.
Yeah, and the most interesting thing is... the guy they report to, and that guy is Magneto.
Which, yet again, calling back to another era in X-Men where Magneto lived in the house in Charles's absence and tried to help everyone else and tried to be a mentor.
Yeah, that's pretty much what they're doing here. This team is based out of Madripoor.
Oh, Oh
of
shit.
of all places.
Oh fuck, I love Madripoor.
Yeah, and at the end of the book, you kind of get like this. It's kind of like a backup story, but it's like a cutaway that's actually part of the actual story where a small snowy mountain town is being plagued by Wendigo.
It's Canada. You can say it. It's Canada.
Oh, well, I don't know if it's Canada or not. It's just like snowy mountain town.
It's got a Wendigo, and I know where you're going with this with Wolverine. It's probably Canada.
Yeah, and Wolverine shows up, but it's not Wolverine. It's his son, Jimmy Hudson.
From the Ultimate Universe, which makes him, Miles, and the Maker like the three characters who survived the implosion of the Ultimate Universe.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. And he appears he might be joining the blue team as well.
Of course, because they need a resident Wolverine, and they can't get Laura for some reason because she was on the other one. They're like, no, we already tried that.
She's got a too successful solo series, so
I guess she'll just have to be happy with that.
Yeah.
It's funny too. What is it? Cullen Bunn, the guy who writes Blue, on Twitter was sure to say, yes, that is Jimmy Hudson from the Ultimate Universe, but he's not going to be called Wolverine. He's like, I have a name in mind, but then jokingly asked everyone else, what would you call him if you could? And there was a lot of funny ones there. It's like, Jimmy Claus, let's call him that.
Jimmy Claus.
Jimmy Claus. Hey, it's my buddy Jimmy Claus from the Bronx. How you doing, Bo? Pound it. Oh, no, actually don't pound it because your claws come out of your hands. Don't do it.
That's probably why the book was so well written, because it was written by Cullen Bunn, who's a really great writer and everything.
Absolutely. I pitched in his Twitter, and I got a couple likes and retweets on this one. I'm like, hey, is Kyle Gibney still alive? Can you call him Wild Child? That would be a nice continuity gag if you called him Wild Child. Because he is a child, and he is rather wild, so it kind of makes sense, doesn't it?
It does.
I guess keeping up with the X-Men train of thought, and I didn't read Blue, but I did read Weapon X this week.
Yep, so did I.
You did? What did you think of it?
I liked it. I thought it was all right. It was a lot better than it should have been.
Yeah, it gets the job done. It's perfectly adequate. Its biggest problem is it's super derivative of every other Wolverine versus Weapon X story you've ever heard ever.
Yeah, pretty much.
To the point where even Old Man Logan is like, oh god, we're doing this again, huh? Someone rebuilt Weapon X. Better go find Sabretooth, because if they're gunning for me, they'll probably be gunning for him too.
Yeah, and they send those Terminators after them.
They are adamantium Terminators. It's funny too with Sabretooth, because he's also in a bit of discontinuity, much like Magneto, where it's like, well, you were a hero after Axis when you got rewritten, and then you were an anti-hero on the Uncanny X-Men. Are you a hero or a villain now? Well, you've got your villain hair on, which is extra long and extra Tyler Maine-ish, so I'm going to assume you're a bad guy, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think he might be a bad guy, but he's probably someone who doesn't want to be a bad guy, since he's living out in the log cabins.
Yes, as you do when you don't want to be left alone, eating cornflakes without milk, which Old Man Logan doesn't like. Because he's an old man, he needs his fiber in his diet right now if he wants to stay regular. There's a question for the fans. Do you think Wolverine, with his amazing healing factor, do you think he ever gets diarrhea? I wonder.
Maybe.
I mean, you figure if his cells can fight off all sorts of other disease and he can't get drunk and everything because, his healing factor is so great, can he get diarrhea? Because diarrhea is like a small viral thing, isn't it?
Yeah, these are the hard questions we ask here on the Comic Multiverse.
Absolutely, man. If I ever...
Does Wolverine get diarrhea?
Everyone tweet at Greg Pak and ask him that. He'll know. He'll know the answer to this question. Does Wolverine get diarrhea? Also, is the Thing rock all over? That's the other thing. By which we mean his penis, which Stan Lee's like every time someone asks me this. But yeah, Weapon X, it's not bad. I'm gonna keep reading it, but it's not spectacular. I am, however, interested though. Greg Pak, who writes this, also writes the Hulk book, is going to eventually be crossing those over for an interesting story.
Yeah, that weird Hulk Wolverine.
Yeah, gotta see what the hell that's about. WMD, Weapons of Mutant Destruction. So yeah, I mean that was that. What else did you have going on this week, Matt?
I had Action Comics issue 977.
Yes, yes, the big retcon issue in the fallout of the whole Superman Reborn Mr. Mixelplick thing.
Yeah, so this issue sort of told us where we stand with Superman and like what's canon and what isn't.
Very
And
important.
and for the most part, everything the pre-Flashpoint Superman did was canon, while the New 52 Superman, his origin and everything kind of isn't.
Yes, pretty much. Also, too, Luthor is from Smallville again, which I thought was interesting.
Yes, the Jeff Johns Secret Origins Superman book is now canon, is now the canon origin, and I don't think a lot of people realize that because I've seen people getting angry that another origin. I'm like, it's not. It's an old origin.
Geez, what are the odds of that? Jeff Johns, Mr., president of DC, president of creative, makes his own story canon. What are the odds of that?
Yeah, and good because it's a damn good origin story.
It is. It's a very good story. I just find it's hilarious. Where it's like, okay, so we gotta dig through 75 years of material here. What do we keep and what do we throw away? Well, we'll just keep what I wrote.
And the cool thing is that when we see Clark go back through his history and everything with Krypton and everything, even the Krypton is like the old school sort of pre-Flashpoint Krypton, where it's sort of the combination of all the other Kryptons before it, the burn Krypton, the original Krypton, and like this new Krypton as well. It's all that combination because you see all the different eras in that one panel.
It's really nice. What I loved about that scene, and I'm sure you loved it too, Matt, this idea that Superman is reliving the destruction of his planet, which he's done before, but this is the first time he's ever doing it as a parent, and he's seeing it through the eyes of a father, and he asks himself the oh-so-harsh question, could I send Jonathan away to another planet if I knew Earth was going to be destroyed tomorrow?
Yeah, it's a neat little bit of I guess character growth for him, where he's seeing something he's seen hundreds of times, but in a new light because he now has his own family.
I'm not gonna lie, I got a little misty-eyed when Lar is like, oh, but where will he go, Jor-El? Who will raise him? And he's like, oh, the most wonderful couple in the world, mother, you would love them. And I'm like, oh, he's talking about Ma and Pa Kent. Oh, it's so sad.
Yeah, and it's really weird as well that since like all this is back in continuity, like they're not alive now, or
Yeah.
at least that we know of.
Yeah, it's the one kind. Well, I think the way he was talking about them, he was sort of talking about Ma and Pa in the past tense.
Yeah.
Because I'm kind of like, well, hey, now, if you were rewriting the universe anyway, and they're back to being the Kents, and they're going to be moving back to Metropolis soon, why can't Ma and Pa be alive? Like, really, why?
Yeah, maybe this might be another thing that Manhattan has taken from him.
Oh, yeah.
And we get back. I'd love to see like whenever those two like come head to head, like Dr. Manhattan uses his parents against him
Oh, that'd
to
be
like
fucked up.
to like distract him or something.
Be like, hey, didn't you ever wonder when your life got refused together why your parents weren't alive again? Oh, because they've been here with me on Mars all along. They've been making me apple pie. It's been great. Oh, hey, son, we've been hanging out with the Blue Naked Man. He's our new son now. We love him. Thanks, Dr. Manhattan, my son. This is why I don't write for comics, because that would be my pitch, and then they were eating apple pie the whole time. Somehow I feel that would get shot down in story meetings. But yeah, that one was really good, and it furthermore sets up this whole Superman revenge story, because some weird Matrix-looking dude is going around recruiting a bunch of Superman's foes.
Yeah, back to the Superman Revenge Squad, which is really cool.
Great concept. I'm amazed it's taken them this long to bring the Superman Revenge Squad back, and not just like any rinky-dink version of it either, like the heaviest hitters. Mongol and Metallo and like Cyborg Superman and Blanche and everyone else on this.
Yeah, Eradicator, Zod,
Yeah.
all these characters.
That's a pretty serious revenge squad right there.
Yeah.
Not just like, oh, we've got Livewire and the Parasite and the Toyman. No. This is like the world-ending Superman revenge squad. Like any one would be a serious threat on their own, but they're all together. Like it gives me one of the best feelings as a comic reader and really just as an enjoyer of long form storytelling in general. And it's that feeling of, oh man, how's he gonna get out of this one?
Yeah, yeah,
That's a great feeling. So yeah, Superman Action Comics continues to be kick ass, continues to be one of the best things coming out of DC Rebirth right now.
yeah.
If you're not reading it, read it. What else did I? Well, I guess from Superman we can hop right on over to Batman and Detective Comics number 954, a comic that was also filled with some retcons and some filling in some plot holes.
It was.
Mainly around the League of Shadows and someone asking the also important question, hey, if the League of Shadows are such king shits of fuck mountain like they are, how has Batman never heard of them before? Some great detective he turned out to be. And the answer is he has heard of them 3 times at least, but Roz rewrote his memory every time to keep it secret until now.
Yeah, been fucking around with his memory.
Yeah, which happens a lot in DC, doesn't it? There's a lot of memory fuckery happening.
Yep.
You're not cool until you've had your memory screwed with. Because think about it, Superman had his memory messed with by getting split and everything. Wonder Woman has had her memory messed with in her book, and now Batman has also had his memory messed with. I'm waiting for Aquaman and Nightwing to come in and be like, oh, we've had our memories messed with too. Actually, Nightwing kind of has had his memory messed with, actually, by Dr. Hurt, who made him see other alternate versions of himself. So there you go. It's a big, exclusive club of heroes who have had their minds fucked with. Beyond that, this was kind of like a quieter issue of Batman. It's him talking to Ra's, and then it's Jacob getting the rest of the colony together to go fight the League of Shadows. I like the colony. I actually would read a colony book now. They seem very unique. I got a very like Venture Brothers Sphinx vibe off them.
Yeah, yeah, they seem really cool, and they brought back that one guy. I can't remember what his name was. He's in that Iron Man-ish costume.
Oh, Colony
with the
Prime.
gun. Yeah, Colony Prime, that was it.
Colony Prime and his little buddy, the General, which I love. The General is his screen name in this version because he's just like some shitty hacker kid. Who, I don't know if you know this, Matt, but back like in the Tim Drake Robin run, the General was his arch nemesis, and they implied that the General stole Tim Drake's costume.
Yeah, yeah, they did imply that here. And how fucked up is it going to be? Like, I reckon he's probably going to wear the costume,
Oh, of course.
and go confront Batman and just like fuck with Batman's head.
I'm your Robin now, and I'm sure he'll be like, buddy, you're at least 20 pounds heavier than my Robin. You look like you drink a lot of gamer fuel and eat a lot of Doritos is all I'm saying. Not to be an unbody positive Batman, but you got poured into that costume. Is all I'm saying. But I'm your Robin now. I can be your ward. No, you can't. It'd be even funnier if Tim Drake finds him. It's like, hey, that's my costume. Give it back. I'm going to kick your ass now. But yeah, fun issue. I'm definitely liking this League of Shadows storyline. Want to see where it goes for sure.
Yeah, so yeah, it was a pretty cool book, and I love seeing just Ra's and Batman fighting.
Yeah,
it's always good.
Yeah, when they're trading verbal bars, never touch each other in the whole issue. Barely, they just talk to each other, and it's as riveting as any fight scene.
Yeah.
What else did you have this week, Matt?
It's Supergirl issue 8.
Yes, tell me about it.
It was the Superman meets Supergirl issue.
Right, that they were building up to.
Yeah, and it's cool how they framed this. They framed it as it's the Kryptonian Day of Truth.
Ooh.
And Superman just goes to the National City to see his cousin because of all the shit that's been going on with Superman Reborn and everything. And they just sort of talk about what's been going on. And Emerald Empress shows up talking about how Supergirl betrayed her or tricked her. And Supergirl's like, I don't know who the fuck this crazy bitch is. And they need to find out what's going on with her because she mentioned Saturn Girl and everything and all this stuff. But it's just Superman and Supergirl just sort of hanging out. They go to the Fortress of Solitude, and in one of the trophy room where Clark has his big train, they have dinner with Lois and John, and John and Kara meet for the first time.
That's cool.
And everything, and sort of get along. It's just a family book and everything, and he tells Kara what happened with him. But Kara, the cool thing is, since Kara's book was mainly like a cosmic book, like her in space and whatnot, with the Red Lanterns and then that weird space X-Men group and everything.
Yeah.
Um, her book is largely unaffected by the events of Superman Reborn. Like
Really?
she kind of remembers the New 52, but at the same time doesn't really realize that Clark is this new pre-Flashpoint Superman. Like, it's really weird, but the thing is that her book is kind of like a clean slate since she can now learn all this sort of stuff and sort
A
of start spending time and everything with him.
a clean slate, and I'm sure doing things this way too allows them to stay closer to the TV show where they're drawing more than a little inspiration from.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Because I guess they need it to be that way. Because if the ripple effects hit Supergirl, she's like, oh, I remember all my other lives and my other pre-Flashpoint shit. Man, I've had a complicated history. Hey, remember that time I died? Remember that?
And I think at the start of this issue, there's this really funny joke about crises bringing them together.
Yeah. Do they ever? Do they ever?
Yeah, I thought that was a really funny joke.
I'll be interested to see what happens with Emerald Empress and Saturn Girl, because obviously that's a reference to Legion of Superheroes. You got your Legion of Superhero connections on the Supergirl TV show right now. It's amazing how they do these multimedia blitzes and have them all kind of line up.
Yeah, I think it's going to connect pretty big in a pretty big way. I think next issue, she heads to Burnside and teams up with Batgirl again.
Nice, nice. It's nice to see they've rebuilt their friendship in the same way they've rebuilt the Batman-Superman friendship.
Yeah.
Totally cool. Another book I read this week, and another book that just so happened to be X-Men focused, was Amazing Spider-Man Renew Your Vows #6. Have you been keeping up with Renew Your Vows, Matt?
I don't read any Spider-Man books.
If you read nothing else, you can read Renew Your Vows because it's not connected to anything. It's a fresh slate, and it's an older, more mature Spider-Man, the type that fans have been clamoring for.
Cool.
Especially if you read nothing else, check this one out because it's the best version of the X-Men I have read in years.
Yeah.
Because it's just the cartoon version. They're literally wearing the same costumes and acting like it's still the 90s.
Oh, that's awesome.
But they've moved them on a little bit too. So in the universe of Renew Your Vows, Wolverine and Jean are married and have a daughter together.
Mm-hmm.
And the daughter's name is Shine, and she's like a silly toddler, but they're already doing the thing of like, oh, if she inherited her dad's healing factor and her mother's mental powers, she's going to be a god when she grows up. Cyclops is still at the school, and this is the best part. He is now a professor of mutant ethics. I know, right? Isn't that brilliant? And here's the thing. So, like, the big crux of this is because Spider-Man and MJ have a daughter now, and Xavier comes to them and says, hey, you should totally let your daughter come to my school now. She's a gifted youngster, even if she's not a mutant. This would be a great environment for her to learn and not have to hide her powers and everything. And you and as parents, don't have to worry about her getting outed as a superhero and you getting outed as Spider-Man by extension. And Pete loves the idea, because school totally sucked for him growing up, and he really wished he could have gone to an awesome X-Men school. I mean, who doesn't? But MJ was popular in school growing up, and she's like, well, no, I mean, we can't take her away from the real world. We can't take her away from regular people. How she's ever going to interact if we just send her to, like, straight-up superhero school, especially, too, when you stop and consider how often does the X-Mansion come under attack every week?
Yeah, like every day.
He comes under attack at the end of this issue. But the best part is that Cyclops, he talks about how he doesn't trust Charles Xavier blindly anymore, even though he loves and respects him. He says he lost faith in him after the events of the Civil War, where, get this, instead of a big fight between heroes, Xavier stepped on in and stopped it using his mental powers.
See, that's something that would happen as well.
It's kind of amazing, this alternate take on the X-Men, where I'm like, oh my god, these X-Men need a spin-off like yesterday.
They're perfect.
They literally are. We need X-Men Renew Your Vows. And I wondered aloud to myself, and I talked to other people, Jerry Conway, the guy who wrote this, of course, the guy who wrote the original Death of Gwen Stacy, and the guy who created the Punisher, and has an amazing resume to his name. I wonder if he literally set out to be like, I'm gonna write a really great version of the X-Men that have grown and matured, but also keep everything people love about them, or if he was just like, well, I'm just gonna write the X-Men I remember from when I was writing comics.
Yeah, maybe the second one, but also I could see him doing it and be like, I'm gonna write an X-Men book so good that fans are gonna want one, and probably force Marvel to give him one.
Yeah, so I get a little bit more work for me. But yeah, it's really good. If you have been clamoring for X-Men, and I think it's so hilarious that it came out this week when we had Weapon X and we had X-Men Blue, that are trying so hard to harken back to a more classic time for X-Men, trying really hard, almost to the point where it's transparent. Then you got this book that comes along and just, almost without even trying, does authentic X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
And it's in a completely different universe. But yeah, that was really good. If you read nothing else from Spider-Man Renew Your Vows, but you're a fan of the X-Men, you should probably pick up this in the next issue, though, because it is just totally X-Men City.
What issue is it up to?
6.
Oh, okay then, cool.
It's going to be very easy to catch up on this one. But yes, if you want an older, more mature take on Spider-Man and a cool take on X-Men, you got to be reading your Renew Your Vows.
Cool.
What else did you have, Matt? Because I'm nearing the end of my list.
At Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps issue 18.
What's old Hal up to these days?
Old Hal is watching over the Lantern Corps since the Yellow and Green Lantern Corps are now one. And this issue they rebuild a yellow power battery on Mogo.
Nice.
Next to the green power battery, and obviously there's complications when the Yellow Lanterns get into fights with the Green Lanterns, stuff like that. And of all people, Guy Gardner is the one to sort of put a stop to it. And him and Arquillo, since last issue, they just beat the shit out of each other. and he says, and he comes with Arquillo, him and Arquillo are best buds now. And he comes with Arquillo and he says, any bad blood between the Lantern Corps, me and Arquillo settled on the street last issue.
That's so them.
Yeah, and it's just so good. It's just so good. But the overall story is about these weird anomalies that the Lanterns are picking up all over the different sectors, and lanterns are disappearing and stuff. And at the end, one of these anomalies appears in their command center, and it spits out Rip Hunter.
Oh shit!
Yeah, and he says that the Green Lantern Corps is disappeared from the future, and he passes out, and no one knows who he is, but Hal is more interested about why he is wearing a Green Lantern ring more than anything else.
Interesting. Let me ask this: does the Rip Hunter in this look like the Rip Hunter from TV?
No, he looks like old school Rip Hunter.
That's an interesting choice. I'm glad they went ahead with that.
Yeah.
That's too funny though to see him show up. I love that Hal Jordan. I don't recognize this man. I don't watch Legends. I don't have the CW in space. I don't know who
he doesn't look like Arthur Darvill. He doesn't look like him.
I don't know. Tell me who you are. Is your show any good? Does it have its moments? Will I be annoyed for huge chunks of it, but then kind of get on board by the end? Well, will I? Well, that sounds fun. That sounds like a winner. Sounds like they're doing interesting stuff over there.
Yeah, that's a really cool book, and they're even referencing Dr. Manhattan and everything, and
nice.
Which is really cool.
I guess another book I had this week, and easily a contender for my best series of the year already, and it's only 3 issues in. That was Kingpin.
Yeah?
Kingpin is so good. I know I've probably told you before, Matt, but this new solo miniseries is basically about the Kingpin getting an autobiography written about him.
Yeah, he's being followed around by someone.
Yeah, by this lady, Sarah Dewey, who's a really interesting character in her own right, and you don't really know if he's just putting on a show for her, or if you really are seeing a kindler, Kindler is a kindly guy, a kinder, gentler side of Wilson Fisk. And it's really well done, and it's really adult, and it's really well layered. And what is it? Tombstone kind of ends up being the villain of this issue, and I love me some Tombstone.
Cool.
It's great. He kidnaps this woman because he assumes, oh, well, you got to be working for Fisk. And she manages to talk her way out of it and get, like, an interview with Tombstone all at the same time.
That's great.
Because Tombstone fucking loves to talk. So it's like, and the first guy I ever killed. And then he just keeps on going and going like that. It's a nice touch, too, because Matthew Rosenberg writes this, and he also writes the new Rocket Raccoon book. He puts a reference to what's going on in Rocket Raccoon on the TV in this comic.
Oh, that's cool.
I love it when writers do that, when they tag themselves and be like, hey, here's another book I'm writing you should read.
Yeah, that's always fun.
Yeah, it's a really good book. It's really well put together. Did you have any other ones? I have one more after this.
Yeah, I got two more. I had, obviously, I know you read it, JLA issue 4.
I did read this one.
Yeah, it was pretty good book. It was the end of the Extremist arc.
See, I was kind of confused by the ending of it. It kind of felt like it was all over the damn place.
It did, but at least they actually put a close on the extremists. Like, you see Lord Havoc getting arrested and the other extremists sort of being defeated and everything. And I think it was more just a story about setting up who this new Justice League is and like what their whole, I guess, business plan is and what their whole deal is. And even that resistance fighter sort of says that, like, we kind of expected you to just come in and just sort of sort everything out, but you came in and asked us what to do.
Yeah. What's the legality you feel of jailing people from another dimension? How does that stand?
I don't know. Are they covered by our laws? I guess now because they're in our world, they're covered by them.
It's very Rick and Morty, where it's like, look, I am not subject to the rules and regulations of this dimension. I reject them and substitute the rules and regulations of my own dimension. I guess it is kind of cool. Like, Vixen gets a cool fight with Lord Havoc. She's the one who actually ends up defeating him. And then, we kind of have her and Black Canary both hit upon the idea that they should have hit upon early on, and that is, I don't think Batman has the best intentions for bringing us all together.
Yeah, they kind of sort of suspecting ulterior motives, and we as readers know there is ulterior motives. Yep. But no one on the team really knows that.
Mm-hmm. And then there's a really weird little sidetrack with the Blue Jay, who was a hero from Angor and is like a DC reference to the Wasp, and Lady Liberty's shield and the Microverse where the original Atom might be out. It was a really weird stinger ending.
Yeah, so I originally think that maybe Blue Jay is going to find Ray Palmer, and Ray Palmer's going to use his technology and his help to get out of the Microverse.
I guess.
Yeah, that's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, that would be a fun story. I would be all for JLA goes to the Microverse.
Yeah.
Especially because, what is it? He basically said, Palmer already said previously in that tape, where it's like, I found something they didn't want me to know. I found a secret in the universe. Yeah,
so it's definitely maybe something Rebirth related in the Microverse.
Well, it was one of the stories in DC Universe Rebirth #1, so it's clearly supposed to be important.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's definitely that heading on. The last book I read this week was Old Man Logan #21.
I have this in my pile. I'm going to start reading this book again.
It's solid is what this is. This is the continuation of Old Man Logan being thrown through time, attempting to get back to the wasteland, but getting screwed over by the wrong magician, and now reliving key moments from his past. Basically, it's a greatest hits collection for Wolverine.
Yeah, and it's a perfect time for me to jump back in.
It really is. He starts off in the War of 1812, and he's like, shit, man, my memory's been fucked with and retconned and so much, I don't even remember this. Was I here? I feel like I was here. Then he wakes up in the Weapon X tank again. He's like, God damn it, I'm sick of waking up here.
I fucking hate this tank.
I hate this place so much. And it's great because we get a little cameo from Dr. Cornelius and a bunch of the other scientists from Department K. Clearly, Jeff Lemire and the artist did their homework for putting characters in there.
Oh, that's cool.
It's really cool. And then the last bit is him waking up in his classic, yellow and blue and being like, okay, where the hell am I now? Only to look over and see the Hulk and Wendigo fighting each other.
Oh, that's cool. So there's that classic cover.
Yep, he is literally going through his life chronologically. And it's like, come back next time where we see Wolverine 74 to 77.
Are we gonna get the Wolverine that has no nose and is like
Probably.
feral?
They'll probably make reference to it if they're going through his life in chronological order. Yeah, he'll probably have to relive the moment where Magneto rips the metal out of
Yeah.
him. Not again. I hated this the first time. Ah, crap. What are some other pivotal moments? Oh, we'll have to see him killing all those Hellfire Club guards in Wolverine Alone, which was that issue where everyone's like, "Man, this guy's cool."
Yeah. I wonder if they're gonna make him relive like the beginning of Old Man Logan where he kills thanks to Mysterio kills the X-Men.
Oh, well, that's got to be the finale. That's got to be like the penultimate issue right there, where it's like, "Oh God, I'm here now. I don't want to live this again."
It'd be really cool if he does like end up like he knows he's gonna do that, so he maybe ends up killing himself before Mysterio can do it, or manages to get to Mysterio before he's able to trick him and change his own future.
That's an interesting question, Matt, you bring up there, because he clearly has control over himself in the past. Like, he can control his movements. But we don't know, is this just his consciousness experiencing these events again, or can he actually interact and change things? I mean, that's what he wanted, because he wanted to go back to the wasteland and save the Hulk baby like he promised to do. But yeah, I don't know, could he completely fuck up time and space by playing it wrong?
Yeah, because that was like what he was originally going to do in this book at the start of it, wasn't he?
Yes.
Going back and trying to stop the people who made him kill the X-Men before
Yes.
they did that. So maybe he could still be trying to do that now as well.
Yeah, he had a whole hit list of people he wanted to kill, but that got messed up. He's like, no, I want to kill the Red Skull. I want to kill the Hulk, which he couldn't do because Banner was already dead by that point. I want to kill this D-list villain, and I want to kill Mysterio. And the Mysterio one was always funny to me because I'm like, Mysterio's been missing for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, that's a cool book. If you ain't been reading it, you should totes be reading it.
Yeah. Last book I had was New Superman issue 10.
Yes, the Chinese Superman, still going strong.
Yeah, this one he teamed up with Superman.
Making the rounds this week, Superman, isn't he?
Yeah, this was another kind of post Superman Reborn book, and he teams up with Superman to stop the forces of hell from escaping this door, which
Literally hell.
Yeah, or the Chinese mythology version of hell, and it all stems from Lex Luthor sort of bringing Keenan over to Metropolis and sort of showing him the life of in America and everything, and getting him to open these doors. And he keeps claiming he's gonna be able to give Keenan his powers, like his proper powers and everything. So he's kind of like an evil guy again. I know there is ulterior motives for him to make Keenan get his powers, because I think if he gets the powers, he'll gain access to powers himself, and Lex Luthor will get powers, kinda.
That's definitely the big question, because, if everyone fused and they remember their past lives and everyone's essentially back to the way we remember them pre-New 52, what does that mean for Luthor, who grew so much and became a good guy?
Yeah. Well, he's kind of a villain in this, but kind of not. Like, he's playing that line where he's like kind of chummy, but also doing stuff sinister in the background.
Right. I want your powers, but I want them so I can make the world a better place.
Yeah. That's what he was doing here, and it's up to Superman and Keenan and the China White Triad to stop the forces of hell and everything.
Nice reference to the China White Triad, of course, from Green Arrow.
Dude, this book references the Free Comic Book Day issue of 2015.
Damn.
That's how far back it references, because Superman fought them in that, and I think Snake Pit remembers that, and he's trying to get payback to Superman.
That's a fucking pull, is what that is.
Yeah, and
that's continuity porn, is what that is.
it is. When I saw that, I'm like, holy shit! Like, that's a book that's what, like 3 years old now at the moment.
least.
So it's like in the middle of the New 52.
I just imagine Matt reading that, being like, "Oh God, the continuity! It's so good. Way to pay attention, writer."
It was a really good way to pay attention.
Oh God,
Um,
yeah, reward me for reading everything. I love it so much.
but yeah, it was a pretty cool issue. Keenan learned that his parents aren't dead this issue.
Oh shit.
Thanks to like these massive Minotaur Ox King people coming and saying his parents aren't didn't fall through the afterlife, so they're still alive somewhere.
Well, that's good.
And we find out that I told you about the pull from the original Detective Comics, that Asian guy.
Yes, yes.
I can't remember his name, Ching Lung or something. We find out that guy is actually Keenan's master, I Ching, and he's been
Oh.
disguising himself as him.
And he's been teaching him kung fu, right? That's the thing. Like he's actually
Yeah,
learning
yeah.
martial arts.
Yeah, he's learning how to. The whole thing about this comic and like the last couple of issues is Keenan's been trying to do the easy way to get his powers, and that's what Lex was taking advantage of.
He was being the
Of
devil
him.
on the shoulder.
Yeah, yeah, and while Master I Ching was kind of teaching him, no, you've got to do all this stuff. You can't just take the easy way. You've got to actually learn and grow as a person. And he did, because you look at him in like issue 1, he was a fucking dick in that.
He was a bully. He was literally
Yeah,
a
he was
bully.
bullying and everything, and now he's like learning, thanks to Superman and everything, how to use his powers and learn how to use them for good and everything. So that's really cool.
I like the idea of him learning martial arts too, because like Superman is really good, but he never learned like martial arts or anything because he didn't have to.
Yeah, well, I know in one continuity he learned like Kryptonian kung fu.
Right, Tasm Row and Tasm whatever, yeah.
Yeah.
I do remember that. I remember they referenced that in Death Battle, and I'm like, oh, geez, that's a pull.
Yeah, I know we taught like Batman it as well.
That's right, Batman does is like, teach me something I don't know. Keep in mind, I'm really great at everything. In case you didn't know, I'm the goddamn Batman. So yeah, but by and large, sounds like a pretty great week for comics, right?
Yeah, it was a really great week.
Real whopper of a week for comics. Lots of good ones, and guess what, man? We get to do it all again next week.
I know, next week's going to be even bigger.
Yeah, in fact, I was going to say we haven't done this in a bit, so if you want to stall for time, let's actually take a look at what's coming out this week / what you can read today, because this comes out Wednesday morning.
Well, I already have my list up because I always get my list before the comics come out, so I know what I'm going to read. Secret Empire starts.
Oh fuck! Does it really?
It does.
It's the 0 issue, right?
The 0 issue, and apparently Captain America Steve Rogers ties into it, and so does Thunderbolts.
Okay, Matt. You know what that means? We need to do. We need to pick.
We need to catch up.
Well, okay, you need to catch up, and I will help you. Let's pick a time sometimes this week. Let's do a special, like, this is what you need to know for Secret Empire. And in fact, it'll really help now because we have the 0 issue to go off of.
Yeah, and also I know Free Comic Book Day is coming up, but is there a Free Comic Book Day issue of Secret Empire?
I think, well, I know they did one for Civil War 2, so it's believable that they would. Maybe
Yeah, so
do.
I wonder if that's going to tie into it, or whether it's just going to be a previews book.
Right, I guess we'll find out when we get there. I know Spencer basically said, hey, by issue 1, everyone knows Captain America's secret. Issue 0 is the inciting incident. They're burning down the Reichstag moment, and then we just completely go from there on out. So basically, he promised, pick up this book, I won't waste your time.
Awesome.
That's exactly what we want to hear, especially after stuff like Civil War 2 and like everything else. Yeah, please don't waste my time.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sick of books what waste my time. So yeah, what's coming out this week? We got All-Star Batman number 9. That's going to be pretty good. They've definitely been hyping that up in every comic this week.
Yeah. It's every comic there's been an ad for it, which makes me think it's going to be a big issue.
Aquaman number 21. I've fallen so behind on Aquaman. I keep saying I'm going to do a big video where I catch up. Did you see in the solicitations they're bringing Dolphin back to Aquaman, who was like a female sidekick, and he's got a bad case of Momoa beard now?
I did see that, and I know I've promised people, and I'm going to jump back onto Aquaman after this this current arc is finished, which is something about dead water or something. I don't know.
H2O.0 or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I want to actually go somewhere and film a thing because I'm trying to make like these comic catch ups into a show itself, but I need to like really work on it to try and make it different.
Yeah.
We got Batman number 21. This is the button, right? This is the kickoff to the button.
Yeah. This is the first issue of the button.
Hot damn.
Yeah.
We got Batwoman number 2. Man, there was a long wait in between Batwoman number 1 and number 2, wasn't there?
Yeah, that's a weird book. Is it like bi-monthly or
I
something?
guess it must be now. Green Arrow number 21. Super stoked for this. This is Star City
Yeah.
Rising. This is all these characters coming back again. What else do we got going on here? Justice League number 19. You're still reading that.
Mm-hmm.
Nightwing number 19. Super Sons number 3.
Awesome.
Superman number 21. The continuation of this whole Black Sun evil dairy farmer thing.
Cool.
Trinity number 8. This is still Cullen Bunn filling in. Interested to see
Yep.
where that's going to go. Over on the Marvel side of things, past IDW, past Image. Where the hell's
Yeah,
Marvel?
I know we get US Avengers, which I think as well is a Secret Empire tie-in since Captain America's in that issue.
Yeah, I think they're all tying into it. So yeah, we got Captain America, Steve Rogers, number 16. Daredevil number 19. Ooh, the continuation of the Purple Children. Can't wait to see where that goes. Deadpool number 29, which is the finale of the Till Death Do Us event that they've been doing.
Cool.
Kind of slagged in the middle there, but it's all right. Invincible Iron Man number 6. Oh god, Monsters Unleashed Kid Kaiju's getting a new comic this week.
Oh geez, whatever happened with that Monsters Unleashed? That kind of like faded into obscurity like really fast.
It did. It finished. I know the people who read it, some people said it actually wasn't too bad by the time it was all over with because it was actually a lot of heroes working together. Go watch Comic Pop's back issues on it. They give a very good little thing on it because it's the one person who read it trying to explain it to the two people who didn't read it, and they're just like us, Matt. They're like, fucking stupid, fucking Monsters Unleashed, fucking too many goddamn events back to back, goddamn Civil War 2, all the bitterness behind that. But apparently it actually ended on an okay note. Nick Fury number 1 also comes out this week. Yeah, Nick Fury was getting a series to himself. Remember that?
Oh, I might have to look at that. I like when Nick Fury gets a book. It's always really fun spy adventures.
I will look in its general direction. Maybe it'll be like Kingpin. Maybe it'll actually be pretty good on its own.
Yeah.
Miss Marvel number 17, Royals number 2, Secret Empire number 0, like you said.
Awesome.
What else we got going on? Venom number 6. I think this is Eddie Brock coming back, if I'm not wrong. And then USA Avengers number 5. So goddamn, it's gonna be another mega packed week.
Yep.
Jeez, there's just no rest for us, Matt. Right? No rest for the wicked.
There isn't. Hopefully we get one of those weeks like we had a couple of weeks ago where it's only like 4 or 5 books.
You know, I pray for that, and then they come along, and I'm like, God damn, I'm not gonna have enough videos to fill the whole week. I'm gonna have to really dig some shit out of my ass, or I'm gonna have to actually try to buckle down and finish like a required reading or something that I really want to do. And then I'm like, man, that's great. Why can't I do these every week? It's quite a thing reviewing comics week to week like we do. We're very unique in that regard, Matt. You and I.
Mm-hmm.
So on that note, everyone, I can bring this episode of the podcast to a close. Thank you so much for listening. Hope you have a very happy Easter. Those of you out there who celebrate that one, I know I did. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, comment, do all that other social media jazz. If you like the show and want to support the show, you can always become a patron. Patrons get to listen to the show first before anybody else. You can become a patron for as little as $1 a month. It goes a very long way. In fact, Matt, we have quite a few new patrons, so thank you, everyone who did that. I know I've been shilling it a little bit more than usual. I appreciate that. And for everyone else, you get the show 8 a.m. Wednesday morning, both on the YouTube channel and on the SoundCloud page, of which there are many people following now, so thank you for that as well.
Awesome.
And you can find me at Cape Joel on Twitter, and you can find Matt at
Matt_FOS on Twitter, and the Fortress of Solitude on YouTube.
Yes, be sure to follow those to keep up to date on everything we're doing. And on that note, I think I can finally bring this one to a close. Thank you so much for listening to everyone. We will be back next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.